In the bustling streets of ancient Athens, a man named Zeno walked quietly, clutching a book. His life, once filled with wealth and promise, had been shattered. His ship sank during a storm and his fortune was gone, standing there with nothing except a question that had begun to haunt him. How should one live when everything can be lost in an instant? That very question would lead him not to despair, but to wisdom. Zeno was to become the founder of Stoicism, not by avoiding life's hardships, but by learning to walk through them slowly, attentively, like a man feeling his way through smoke in search of light. The core of Stoicism lies not in escaping the storms of life, but in learning to navigate them with a steady mind. The events of our lives may be unpredictable, but our response to them can be a source of peace. Now, what exactly is Stoicism? It is not about suppression. It is not about coldness or emotional denial. It is not a philosophy that tells you to ignore pain, nor is it a rejection of joy. Stoicism is a way of living. It is a practice. It's a discipline of the mind. It is a path walked by emperors and slaves alike, across centuries, through different cultures, and in the face of different circumstances. The heart of Stoicism lies in one powerful idea: some things are in our control, and others are not. And this distinction between what we can control and what we cannot is the foundation of the entire philosophy. Living according to nature. The Stoics often spoke about living according to nature, but what does that really mean? At first, it might sound like something quite vague. Live according to nature? What does that even mean? It does not mean living in a way that is unreasonably wild or uncontrolled. It does not mean rejecting society or running off to the wilderness. Instead, living according to nature means living according to our true nature as human beings, rational creatures capable of thought, virtue, and reflection. To live well, according to the Stoics, is to live with wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. It's to act in harmony with the world as it is, not as we would wish it to be. It's to face every situation, whether it's filled with pleasure or pain, with a clear mind and a steady heart. Ask yourself, are you living in accordance with your nature? Are you striving to be your best self, or are you simply surviving? The role of emotion. A common misunderstanding about Stoicism is that Stoics do not feel emotions. They are often thought to be cold, detached, and indifferent, but that is not true. The Stoic does not erase emotion, they examine it. Imagine a moment when anger rises in you. Perhaps you've been slighted or wronged or provoked. The Stoic does not simply suppress this anger. Instead, they pause and ask themselves, is this anger useful? Is it just? Is it within my control? The goal is not to be stone. The goal is serenity, to approach emotions with understanding, to embrace them without being enslaved by them. Emotions, after all, are signals. They are messengers. They tell us something about our internal state. But we must ask ourselves, are these emotions serving us? Are they leading us to wisdom, or are they pushing us further into turmoil? Think for a moment, how often do we let our emotions dictate our actions without reflecting on them? How often do we react impulsively, only to regret it later? Amor Fati, the love of fate. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most revered Stoic philosophers and an emperor of Rome, wrote these words in his journal at dawn: "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This idea, Amor Fati, the love of one's fate, is at the heart of Stoicism. It is not merely about accepting what comes to us. It is about radically affirming it. not just tolerating what life throws at us, but embracing it. Everything that stands in our way, the Stoics teach us, is an opportunity for growth. Every challenge, every failure, every frustration is fuel for our inner development. Ask yourself, what have you been resisting in your life? Is there something in your way that, instead of fighting against, you could embrace? Could this be the path that leads you to a greater understanding of yourself? The Inner Citadel. Epictetus often spoke of the inner citadel, an unbreakable fortress within us. This citadel, he said, cannot be destroyed, cannot be burned, cannot be stolen. It is built not with physical bricks, but with discipline, with clear thought, with principles that are rooted in virtue. If you lose your wealth, your home, your possessions, these things are temporary, and they may be taken from you. But if your character is firm, if your mind is clear, if your soul is anchored in virtue, no one can truly take your freedom. This is the ultimate truth of Stoicism. True freedom is inner freedom. Freedom from irrational fear, freedom from endless desires, freedom from being a slave to external circumstances. The Modern Stoic. We live in a different world than ancient Athens, of course. We face different struggles, different challenges, but the core of Stoicism remains relevant. The modern Stoic might not face the same hardships as Zeno or Epictetus, but they still face the trials of life. They deal with the same frustrations, the missed emails, the broken plans, the arguments that linger. They struggle with the same inner demon's anxiety, anger, fear of the unknown. But how do you respond when things don't go as planned? When life throws you off course? Remember that Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, walked into the agora with nothing. No wealth, no comfort, but he walked with wisdom, with clarity, with purpose. Remember that Epictetus, a slave, taught the world about freedom, not the freedom that comes from external power, but the freedom that comes from mastering your own mind. Remember Marcus Aurelius, writing his meditations at the dawn of his empire, alone, beneath the weight of the Roman Empire, and still, he embraced life's challenges with grace. And know that the same strength is within you. You may not be perfect, but you can be present. You may not avoid hardship, but you can walk through it eyes open, spine straight, and soul intact. Practicing Stoicism in daily life. So let's ask, how can we practice Stoicism in our daily lives? How do we make this philosophy not just a theory, but a living, breathing part of our experience? It's not about grand gestures. It's not about renouncing the world. It's about the small moments, the choices we make in the ordinary, the responses we choose in the face of irritation, discomfort, or pain. Imagine it's a Tuesday morning. You spill your coffee. Your plans fall through. Someone cuts you off in traffic. A colleague undermines you in front of others. These are the moments where Stoicism shines. These are the moments that define us. The modern Stoic doesn't react automatically. They pause. They reflect. They respond thoughtfully. This is not passive. It's not about avoiding the world or pretending it doesn't matter. It's about engagement, but engagement with mindfulness. It's about being fully present in each moment, no matter how small or frustrating. Ask yourself, what am I practicing today? Am I practicing patience? Or am I feeding impatience? Am I practicing gratitude? Or am I feeding complaints? Stoicism is not a one-time fix. It's a daily practice. It's not something you read about and move on from. It's something you live, breath by breath, choice by choice. Obstacles as opportunities. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "What stands in the way becomes the way." What stands in your way today? A problem at work? A delay in your plans? A difficult conversation? Instead of resisting it, can you embrace it? Can you see this obstacle as an opportunity to practice resilience, to learn patience, to develop your inner strength? The Stoic asks, what can I learn from this? Not, why is this happening to me? The lesson is not always obvious, but it is always there. The hardship, the challenge, it is all an opportunity for growth. The unity of all being. Finally, remember that Stoicism teaches us that we are not alone. We are all part of something greater. Injustice against others is injustice against ourselves. The Stoic sees that all people are interconnected. What hurts one, hurts all. To live well is not just to serve yourself. It is to serve something greater, the greater good, the common good. So ask yourself, how are my actions affecting others? What impact does my behavior have on the world around me? Because character is never private. It radiates outward, like ripples in a pond. And this is the essence of peace, to act in harmony with the world, not just for yourself, but for all. So, this is Stoicism, a path of wisdom, discipline, and inner freedom. But this is not the end. It's only the first step. You've just begun to step into the timeless wisdom that Stoicism offers. There are deeper truths still to uncover, more to learn, more to live. And as you walk this path with courage, clarity, and calm, remember, the journey itself is the practice.